So we're here today talking 3CW and the psychology of seller behaviour. Mike, you've explained in previous sessions about what this means, the A, B, C, D, the awareness, the bias, the comfort and decisions. What I'd really like to know is, as a seller or anybody in a service or a customer facing role, what are the pitfalls? Now I understand some of this stuff, what are the big pitfalls and how might I avoid them?
That's a big question that you're asking there, but it is a critical one, and I would say the big one, the big pitfall to avoid is to only ever look at the sales approach from your perspective as a seller. The more that a seller can step away from looking at this from a sales point of view and instead look at it from a potential customer's point of view, there's a number of things that will happen. First of all, it heightens their awareness. I'll show an example in a minute. The second thing that happens though is, and I don't want people to get upset by this, but sellers will stop selling and instead customers will start buying. Now you might think, well, is that not to the same end? I would put money on the fact that whilst most people probably don't enjoy being sold to, quite a lot of people enjoy buying. And the two different things might end up in the same place. There's that same exchange of money for products and services, but it is a very different experience for a customer to buy rather than to be sold to. And the more that we can help sellers to simply be there to influence buying rather than be there to try and sell, the better. They'll get better rewards. But let's go back to this notion of sellers looking from a customer's perspective rather than from their own. We do quite a bit of speaking. We've spoken internationally. We speak, as is ever the case, at hotels around the world and in the UK. And what's always fascinating, we've discussed this many times, haven't we, Nev, is how when we go to a place for the first time, we see it almost in a very pure sense. Yes, we take some biases with us, but it's always interesting when you see a place for the first time and you think, I wonder how often the general managers or the teams who work at this hotel, how often do they stop to look at this from the customer's point of view? And there is the classic example where we've both spoken at a particular place in the UK which has a really good car park attached to it, and to go from the car park to reception there is a particular route to take. Now we both know, because we've asked the questions, that the staff also park in this car park, and most people who go to that hotel, if they're not dropped off at the door by somebody, a taxi or whatever, most people are parking in this car park, and they are therefore taking the same journey to the reception. If they were applying the psychology of seller behaviour, this is what would be happening. They would be parking up and they would be looking at this afresh every single time. What does this experience feel like? What emotions am I getting as I park there and walk to the steps and either go down the stairs or take the lift? And as I arrive in that bit that's just before the reception, what does this feel like? And how inclined am I to think, I like this hotel, I'm going to, rather than go into the city that it's part of, I'm going to stay here and have some drinks and enjoy the restaurant, as I'm sure the general manager and the owners of the hotel would want them to do. But that doesn't happen in this case, or in many other cases, because the sellers are not aware of the environment that they're in. They're not aware of what does this feel like to a customer. Their bias is, this is the journey, and as a result, because of the awareness piece, it's just part of that 99.9995% of information that is coming to them, but it's not going to the bit that they're consciously aware of. And it's very dangerous. Now, imagine you're one of their competitors and you think, you know what, I'm going to do this properly. Or better yet, what if you're the general manager of that place and you go, yeah, I really need to encourage myself and my team, everyone here, to think about what is the experience of a customer or a client or a guest when they embark on a journey with us. It's not going to cost them any money, but it is a big ask in terms of turn your awareness up a little bit, start to think of this from the customer's perspective, and we can see how it starts to add value to the customer journey. So it's a powerful tool. It's a simple, it's not high cost, but it's a very high value approach to really increasing sales simply by applying the awareness, the bias, the comfort and the decisions.